All right. Well, welcome everyone to the bookseller orientation. We just checked and our total bookseller registrations are closing in on 200 and they're growing every day. We want to give you a heads up that if you haven't booked your hotel room yet, you need to do it by Monday to get the special rate. And we really don't want you to miss that opportunity. So even almost before registering, go ahead and make your hotel reservations, and we have the link on our site. So today we're going to let you know how this conference will work, as we've changed up a few things from what you're used to, and we're providing some tips on how to best approach it. And at the risk of sounding like a Viking cruise commercial, we recommend that you be curious as we lay out the conference format for you. If while we're presenting a question comes up, please put it in the chat and one of us will get to it either during the presentation or at the end. So first off, I want to introduce our team and their roles. Eileen Dengler is the Executive Director of NABA. Her focus is developing our education schedule, as well as organizing rep picks and editor buzz opportunities. Kit Little is Executive Administrator of NABA, and Kit is handling sponsor, exhibit, and ad sales. She's also handling NABA bookseller registrations. Nikki Leone is SIBA's website and systems administrator, and she handles SIBA bookseller registrations and production, communication, and technical support for New Voices, New Rooms. SP Rankin does the website design, development, and management for New Voices, New Rooms, and is the creator of our attendee app, which they'll be showing you a little bit later. Elliot Batzadik is the member manager for NABA. Candace Huber is the member relations coordinator for SIBA and the NVNR social committee lead, because having fun at the conference is really important to us, and we know it's important to you too. Elliot and Candace will be working registration at the conference, and they're also the leads on accessibility. So please reach out to them if you have any accessibility needs. Robin Wood is the social media coordinator for SIBA, and Kathy Ellen Davis is the social media coordinator for NABA. So I wanted to start off the orientation with a little background about SIBA and NABA and our partnership for the conference. We started partnering for events in 2020 at the beginning of the pandemic, and we branded as New Voices, New Rooms, also known as NVNR, and we hosted virtual conferences from 2020 to 2022. We quickly found that together we could create large-scale events for SIBA and NABA booksellers that challenged our expectations of past events and added new twists on the familiar. Throughout the COVID era, your engagement with us has stayed strong, even when we've all had our fill of Zoom, and we really appreciate that you continue to engage and benefit from what we're offering you. When we decided to partner again for this year's in-person conference, we got together in Asheville last fall for a retreat to discuss what we wanted to do. And we didn't want to simply repeat the past. We wanted to bring everyone together in more intimate ways to help support conversations that lead not only to real productivity, but also relationships. Because we've all seen and heard how challenging the last 3 years have been on those fronts as far as engagement and relationship building, especially when we had to rely on so much that was virtual. So when we brought our teams together and talked about this, we decided that our main purpose, beyond the discovery of authors and titles and bookseller education, was for this gathering to be an interactive conference where networking and connection are most important. And some of the words that came up when we were talking about our vision discussion were opportunities, discovery, creativity, scripted and unscripted connections, engagement, and building an environment and structure that helps it all happen organically. And we wanted this experience to be super fun, and thus we have a social committee. So I know, Candace, I like seeing you smile. So when you look at our schedule for the event, you'll see that we've created a focus for each day with networking and connection in mind. Tuesday is bookseller to bookseller connections through bookstore tours and retreats. Wednesday is bookseller to publisher with an exhibit hall centering rep picks, genre buzz, and a room full of exhibitors. And Thursday is education. Every day, ends with a final event that highlights authors, and on Wednesday, editors. And because we've heard from you that you need more unscheduled time during conferences, we left the evenings free to you to go to, so you can go to dinners with publishers or meet up with each other or catch up and restore in your room. So some of these events are going to look different than what you experienced in the past. So that's where I recommend that you, as the Viking Cruise says, be curious about it and how it can work best for you. So I'm turning things over to Eileen to explain more.
Thank you, Linda Marie, and it's nice to see everybody. So returning to an in-person conference gave us the opportunity to evaluate why we meet, when we meet, how we'll meet, and who we want to meet, which luckily is all of you. It was a chance to start fresh, and we are all so excited to show you what we've come up with. So why we meet. We know you want to talk about books. You need to get ready for the holidays. We've come up with programs to help you do that. We created Genre Book Buzz, which are lists by genre submitted by the publishers. The Genre Buzz is taking place at 11 a.m. on Wednesday in the exhibit hall. You choose the genre you want to talk about, whether it's your favorite or a section you need to improve. Then you sit at that table and take notes as all the booksellers at the table share their thoughts on the titles as well as others that aren't on the list. So this is really a bookseller to bookseller talk about the new releases being genre specific. We also come to the conference to learn. We are really excited about Tuesday morning's keynote on leadership. It is an interactive session that will show us all, regardless of job title or time on the job, that leadership is within us all. We also have education roundtables on the exhibit floor on Wednesday, and we have 3 job-focused retreats on Tuesday and 8 education sessions on Thursday with multiple options for anyone, no matter what their job is in the store. For our newer bookstores, we'd like you to be prepared to stop at every publisher table and ask for help setting up accounts and get information on company policies. Now we get to who we'll meet. It's going to be exciting to have booksellers from 2 regions in this very intimate gathering. To welcome you all, we have an early bird reception on Monday with authors, so you can begin the NVNR adventure instead of sitting in your hotel room. We know you want to meet other booksellers, so we have a Tuesday morning session called Serendipity. There's no agenda, just a chance to sit and chat about anything. We've set up tables in the ballroom foyer for this, so grab some of the conference food and relax with booksellers at the table. When that is over, we have the Tuesday afternoon bus tours of DC bookstores. And then a little after that are the retreats for the owners, children's booksellers, and store managers. So there's a wealth of information regardless of your needs. And an exciting addition is our Editors Buzz reception on Wednesday evening. We know that booksellers follow editors and are big fans, and you learn so much when you get to talk with them about the books that they're developing, and also to meet an editor of some books that you might be a fan of and didn't know who the editors were. So editors will be there to spend time talking with you about their new works. And as Linda Marie said, we left the evenings free, so you can join publishers and new bookseller friends for dinner and drinks. We will have tables set up in the foyer where you can eat the conference food, as it's all available to you from 8:30 in the morning till 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and then we have receptions. When we meet, for decades, we heard the industry say, why are we meeting in the fall when we've all finished our buying? So we moved New Voices, New Rooms to August to be at the beginning of the holiday buying season. We know all of you have so many community programs and store events, as well as your own personal obligations that made attendance at a full conference difficult. And especially for our SEBA bookstores, hurricanes just disrupt life. So moving to August puts NVNR at the beginning of your buying season and helps mitigate some of these problems attending a fall conference. And now how we'll meet. We intentionally limited the number of exhibit tables at NVNR so reps can come out from behind a row of tables and stack of books and get closer to you. So every exhibitor is limited to just one table on the floor. In the middle of the ballroom, we've set up 16 meeting tables, and that will host a number of events. It starts out with our rep picks on Wednesday morning, as well as roundtable discussions in the afternoon and the genre buzz, which is also late morning. And we've done away with event tickets and made the day full access passes. So food is offered to everyone and is available all day. And I want to point out that the 16 meeting tables in the center of the room have seating for 16 people each. So it's imperative that you get down to the ballroom early on Wednesday to get your breakfast and make your way to a meeting table for the rep picks. You can eat your breakfast at the rep pick table. We don't have enough seating for every bookseller, so do what you can to avoid losing out this game of musical chairs. There will be ARCs at the conference, but we're trying to make an effort to move those requests online to our virtual galley room and direct requests to the publishers on the exhibit floor. We have done everything to keep all the attendees at New Voices, New Rooms together and engaged throughout the 3 days, and I hope you enjoy our new way of convening. Now I'll pass it over to my colleagues, Nikki Leone and SP Ranking, to discuss the conference app.
Okay, fingers crossed, because my internet has been spotty, but if I suddenly freeze on you all, then SP will pick up the slack. Some of you were asking about signing up for retreats. I put a link in the chat for where you can do that if you hadn't already done it when you registered. So my job is mostly to make sure that all of you as conference attendees can get where you're going and find the information that you need. And that's what SP and I have been working on with what we call the NVNR conference app. It's something that you can load up onto your phone and have with you all the time. It will always be up to date. It will show you where to go and let you do things like request galleys from the galley room, a variety of things. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, fingers crossed, and take you on a little tour of it. The conference app is only available to people who have registered for the show. And Jamie Southern, I think you are on this call, so I am going to use you as a guinea pig here. Do I have that right? Let's see. And this is what you will see when you sign in. It's an app specific to you as an attendee. It has your information. The very first thing that you'll see is our announcement page. This is the page that you'll want to go to see if any last minute updates or changes to the schedule will be announced here. Things to watch out for will be announced here. Also in the app, you'll have access to the schedule. And you can sort of scroll through either the whole schedule or look at it by day or search for specific things like, say, receptions. Yeah. And it will come up with whatever it is that you're looking for. We also have our author directory here so that you can find out more about each of the authors that are going to be at the show. All you have to do is click on one and you can see lots of extra information about them. We also have our bookstore directory. People who have attended NVNR in the past know that we call this Bookstore Row. We have a whole long list of bookstores that have been part of Bookstore Row from the beginning. Bookstore Row is now serving as the attendee directory for the show. So every bookstore that's represented at the show by a bookseller has a listing on Bookstore Row, and we want to make sure that you all keep that up to date. You can see here, there's lots of listings. We've added some extra information that you can put into your bookstore row listing that I did want to point out. One of the things is that, well, I hope I'm not frozen. Oh, there we go. One of the things is that we have a place to add tags. You can see here that Bookmarks is tagged for selling new books and that they're not for profit. And the other thing that we did is we included a second gallery for stores to post pictures of their store swag and products, things that you all create and develop under your store brand and name. So those can also be included in your bookstore row listing. Also on the app is our publisher and vendor directory, and this will show all of the exhibitors, also some of our virtual exhibitors. If they are on site, then their table number will be listed, and you can see a lot of extra information about them. One of the things that we're actually encouraging bookstores to, or encouraging exhibitors and publishers to do, is include information about ordering deadlines, show specials and holiday specials, shipping deadlines and holiday shipping dates that you need to keep in mind, co-op application forms, new account application forms. So all of those things are going to be found on the various listings of the exhibitors in the exhibitor directory. And then everybody's favorite thing, our galley room, which will show the books that are available to request. This has always been a popular, very popular aspect of New Voices, New Rooms. And it's very, very easy to request a galley. Basically, you just click on it. Yeah, I think I'm going to have really slow internet right now. Okay, you click on it and request the book. And it will load up with the title and you can add it to your list.
No, all you have to do is click your name.
Oh,
and
that works?
check mark. Yep.
I'll try that again.
Yep. Sorry. Just click a different book.
She probably didn't want one.
It's a little bit different than it's worked in the past. If anybody remembers, you request this book, your name's going to pop up eventually.
Okay. And there we go.
Click that,
and then you're
done. And then you click save request. And that's all you have to do.
And you're added to it's added to your galley list.
And if you want to see what's on your list, you click your My NVNR link, but which you can get to. I don't know.
Yeah, that's coming up.
Yeah.
The other thing that's on this site is some basic, information for everybody, including the hotel map, contact list for all of the NVNR staff, because we all have sort of different roles, and so you might need to reach us for different reasons. Transportation information, health and safety. So all of that can be found on the app. And then, as SP was saying, if you click My NVNR when you're logged in, you will get basically a snapshot of your registration with NVNR, including what passes you have signed up for, if you signed up for a bus tour, if you have signed up for a retreat, that would also be here, what you chose for your meal preference. And under the virtual galley room, it will show what books you've selected. And you can also remove them if you've changed your mind. So all of that is just under the My NVNR link, and that will constantly update as you make updates. If there's anything on here that you need to have changed, like if you want to change your meal preference for whatever reason, you can send me an email and I can make any updates for you as needed. The other thing that y'all need to know, and I'm just going to log out of this, is if you are the owner or the manager of the store and are responsible for putting together the information for your store's bookstore row listing, we do have a link to keep that updated. We have a Booksellers resource page. This is something that you can do like in advance of the show. And I think I had already emailed or posted in the chat the link to sign up for retreats and bus tours. Well, the same link allows you to update and change your bookstore row listing. This is look at the bookstores that we know have registered for NVNR, and as you can see, some of them have lots of stuff in them, but some of them haven't put any information yet. So I'll be receiving sort of encouragements and requests to go through and update and edit your bookstore row listing. And you would do that here. There's a little create and edit section. And your bookstore row listing is tied to the email address you used to create it in the first place. So if you haven't ever created one, it will just, if you put your email in, it will just create a new listing for you altogether. But if you have created one, it will call up all the information that you've already added and you can update it accordingly. We do encourage you to include store staff members and roles. Bookstore Row is a resource that we make available to the exhibitors, and they will use it as they're developing, their discussions with you and their relationship with you. Both Bookstore Row and the exhibitor directory will stay up and live through the end of the year, since there's a lot of information that we think that you all will be able to use throughout the fourth quarter. And then in 2024, it'll sort of refresh for next year. So I think that is all I have to say about that. And on to whoever's next. Linda Marie, who's next on your script?
Oh, sorry about that. Next up, we have Elliot and Candace.
Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to see you here. It's just, even if I'm just seeing your name on the screen, it's so lovely to know that I'll get to see you in person soon. I'm Elliot Botsetic. I'm the member manager for NABA. I also know plenty of you from PBS, and I also work at Main Point Books in Wayne, Pennsylvania as their event manager. So like all of us, I'm always wearing a lot of hats. The most important thing I want to tell you is when you get there, I will be at the registration desk. Please come to the NABA registration desk if you are a NABA store. Candace will be sitting next to me with the SEBA sign in front of them. So if you are SEBA, talk to Candace. If you're not sure, talk to us both. We're very friendly. When you get there, please check in, introduce yourself in your store. It's really important to tell me if you are a new store or if this is the first time your store has come to a NABA conference, because NABA refunds a conference pass fee for first-time stores, and I want to get that noted down so that we can take care of the paperwork for that for you after the event. And I also really want to encourage you, especially if you're new at this, especially if you, like me, are someone who, do you just walk up to a table and sit down? You don't know, maybe you'll sit in a corner and read your book. Please do really get yourself engaged in this conference. Booksellers are the best people on the planet. If you walk into the dining room and there's a table with 4 people and 7 chairs, you really are welcome to sit down. And in fact, I encourage you to sit with booksellers you don't know and not just your coworkers. Our education is always top notch. The bus tours are amazing. The keynote speeches are going to be inspiring. And sometimes what I learn that I can take back to my store the next day comes from very casual conversations with other booksellers. We're all facing the same issues right now with school boards and censorship, and maybe UPS will go on strike, and how do we compete with online sales? Even though we're in different states and different regions, we're facing the same issues. And what we have to teach each other is the real gift of getting together like this. You could go to a Zoom meeting about any topic at any time, but only in person together can you have those great sparks that ignite new thoughts and new questions. And we really want you to take advantage of that. If at any point during the conference you have a question, if there's any kind of accessibility issue that you run up against, please come to the table and find me or Candace if I'm not there for any reason. We are absolutely here to help you navigate this, and we're so excited to get to see you soon. Candace, it's all yours.
Yes, hello everyone. I am Candace, the SEBA Member Relations Coordinator. I also own Tubby and Coos bookstore in New Orleans, and I know a lot of you from PBS as well. I teach a lot of things over there. So hello to all of you. Really, the only thing I have to add, a couple of things. One, I am a person who gets a sensory overload very easily. And so I'm excited that we're going to have a quiet room. If you're like me and you just need to like get away for a minute, but you don't want to go all the way back to your hotel room, I am excited about that. And also the other thing, as far as accessibility goes, is that we're also going to have gender neutral bathrooms, which is really important to me as well as a non-binary person. And I'm very glad that we did that. So I just wanted to point those things out. And as Elliot said, if you have accessibility needs, even if they're very small, like I find that a lot of time for these conferences, people are like, well, it's not like, I don't have to have it, but it would make my experience better if I did. And they're like sort of reluctant to request things. Please don't be, because, you know, we're here to help you have the best experience that you can. So if there's anything that we can do, let Elliot or I know, and we're happy to do our best to make accommodations for you if you need them. Also, a couple of tips that I have is that, you know, it can be really overwhelming when you see like a bunch of education sessions listed. So the way that I usually like to approach it, one, if you have, of course, multiple people attending from your store, you can just divide and conquer and send different people to different things. The bus tours and the retreats are happening at the same time. There's a little bit about that in the chat. So just make sure one person can't go to both of those things. But if you have multiple people, you can send people to multiple things or multiple sessions. But I usually like to, I'm one person, I don't have staff. So I like to align what I attend with my goals and projects that are happening right now, because you can't attend everything. So my best advice is to attend things that matter to you right now for what you're doing this year and maybe next year. And also have goals going into the conference. Do you want to network with other booksellers? Do you want to really find and meet your reps? Do you want to try to expand your events program? There are lots of different things that you can do, and maybe you want to do multiple things, and that's great. But I think having, you know, just knowing what you want to do before you go in will definitely help you sort of tackle it a little bit easier. And then we're giving you a journal, which is really cool. So make sure that you write down everything, because there are times when I'm having conversations and then I don't write it down. And then I'm like, what ideas did I get from that? So definitely make sure to write it down, which may seem super basic, but I forget it all the time. And then my last piece of advice is to wear comfortable shoes and bring snacks. I'm a big snacks person. We all are, I think, big snacks people who are on the staff here. So I think bringing snacks is always important. And I love making friends. So if you see me around anywhere, if I'm like sitting and eating or at the registration table or wherever, please come and tell me hello, sit with me. I am always open. And I know Elliot is, and we all are on the staff here. If you see any of us, or if you don't have anywhere else to sit or whatever, you can always find me and any of us, and we're around for you to talk, to make friends, to answer questions, to do shenanigans, which is what Kathy Ellen and I are in charge of. So we're very excited about all of those things.
Just one more thing to add to that, especially for folks who are frontline booksellers. And if this is the first time you've come to one of these, I know that seeing a room full of sales reps and publishers can be a little overwhelming if you're not a buyer or someone who regularly interacts with the salespeople, because your job is really at the register. Please do introduce yourself. They want to meet you. You know, get a card, even if it doesn't have your name on it, get a card from your store and write your name and email address on there and introduce yourself. The sales reps want to know you as individual booksellers. They want to know what genres you love. Then they can choose extra special arcs to send you at the store if they know that you're really into a particular author or genre. If they know that you're the one who writes all of the, shelf talkers about certain books. They want to know that. So please, don't go into it with well, I'm just a, regular bookseller, not not a manager. Introduce yourselves to get to know them. If you make bookselling your career, you're going to be working with these folks for a long time, and you want to know them and you want them to know you. So even if you're feeling a little shy and you just do 2 or 3 at a time, please do introduce yourself and get known and get seen for your store.
Thank you both. That was great. Next up are the social media coordinators who are going to talk to you about how they can share what's going on your social media through our channels and some tips on how to use your own social media during the conference. That'd be Robin and Kathy Allen.
I want to break it down a little bit into sort of before the show, during the show, and after the show. And Robin, jump on in with things as we go along here. So if you have seen our social media accounts, there's a lot going on before the show. We are trying to get you registered. Thank you, Robin. Put the hashtag in there, NVNR 23 and NVNR 2023. We are going to be sharing a lot more about the schedule. And we also want to see like what you're excited about. So if you share, we would love tag us if you're saying, oh, I can't wait for this session. Or if you're leading one of the sessions and you share it in your story and say, so excited to be talking to other booksellers about this, right? We want to see that. We want to amplify you. And we would love to also see, I know Candace was talking about wear those comfy shoes. As you're getting ready to come to the conference, what tote bag are you bringing? Do you have a favorite tote bag that you put your stuff in? Or you're going to bring your bookstore shirts that you're sure to wear? We would love to see all of that stuff too. And I know your customers would love to see some behind the scenes things like that as well. And we're also working on getting the social media handles together for the authors that are presenting at the conference. So whether it's during the conference or after the conference, you want to post about them. We know that publishers and the authors really appreciate that. They love seeing themselves tagged. Then they go check out, oh, who did that? It's your bookstore. Maybe that leads to them coming to your store, right? It could be something as simple as that. Robin, is there anything I'm forgetting about the before the conference?
No, I don't think so. I was going to say, do please tag us. I'm going to drop our handles in the chat right now, and tag both of us, whichever region you're with, and we will share and amplify posts.
Yes, because we love to see what you all are loving, because we love everything, but we love to see what you're loving too. During the conference, talking a little bit about having the tags available for the authors. We will be around, both Robin and I, sharing things, and come up and talk to us if you want. Like Candace said, I know sometimes people say that, like, oh, you can come talk to us, but we really do mean that, all of us. So please don't think you don't have a friend at the conference, because you have built-in friends here in the staff. And something that's coming up on our social media soon as well. We had 6 local DC area bookstores reach out to us and share great things about their bookstores and really amazing things that are in their regions and in DC for you to check out. So if you have extra days around the conference that you're planning to stay, this is like the inside scoop of what's awesome to check out. So that will be coming on social media soon as well, if you have a little extra time. And I would say during the conference, like Candace said, note down things that you discover. I find a lot when I was in the bookstore, I would share these little stories when I hear an author talk about something, having that little tidbit to share in your store when you're hand selling the book, right? Or, oh, this book is coming out and we can't wait for it. You can pre-order it now, right? So sometimes it can feel a little stressful to, you don't have to do the play-by-play while you're there. Sharing behind the scenes stuff is really cool. I love to see when other booksellers meet up with each other and they know each other, like, yeah, I got to see so-and-so again, right? That's really easy and fun to do. But thinking even during, I think a little bit about the after. What can you take back with you to share? And, what pictures of behind the scenes things do you think that not only your followers would like, but if there are people at your store that didn't get to come, think about how you can share all of that with them. And anything else to add to that, Robin? Thank you for adding the handles in the chat, please. Thank you.
Nope, that sounded great to me. And I mean, be spontaneous, have fun and share the fun. The whole idea with social media is to and show both how engaged and how much fun we're all having, but also to get the people who didn't come along involved and get them engaged with what we're all doing.
Yes, and I think it's amazing to show your customers that you're engaging with the bookseller community, that you're coming back to them refreshed and hopefully refreshed and getting lots of new ideas of how to do new things. Also, if you haven't gotten, hopefully you've gotten some postcards here soon. We'd love to see your smiling face with the postcard. Coming soon. I actually went accidentally swimming with my phone, so my phone isn't taking the best pictures right now. But very soon I'll get a new phone and that'll be fine. And we'll be sharing some of these. So there should be some more coming your way. And yes, have fun with it. Be spontaneous for sure. It does not have to be that serious. You can see if you follow NABA and SIBA both, which I think you should, that, you know, Robin and I are two people and there's two different looks for that. So there's no one way to do anything. So please don't think that you're doing anything wrong because there's not a right way. And for the after, like I was saying, you know, I would say when you get back, if you're excited about certain books, tag those publishers. You can share about, you know, and something that you learned, that you loved. And then, you know, think about, we might be reaching out to you next year. We had some good testimonials this year to get people excited about coming. And there's always people that have never come before. They're not sure, what could I get from it? Right. So we might be reaching out to you before next year's to get your testimonial of, hey, what was great about NVNR? And then we can share that on our socials and continue to tag us. Even if we've had some people from previous conferences, when they get someone who was an author at the conference to come to their store, they will tag those, they'll tag us again and say, hey, this was from NVNR, right? You know, the conference sort of continues and the conversations continue. So that can happen online as well.
That was great. And I love all the tips that are being shared in the chat too, which we will save, but I recommend you save them as well. And I think, Eileen, you had a few more things you wanted to say about the format of the conference.
Yes, so I wanted to just, because one of the big differences this year, not only are two associations joining forces and working together, but the meeting and convention industry has changed dramatically. So one of the things that we're up against is a hotel that only had one ballroom that they could give us. So it was another reason we had to reimagine how we ran the conference. So as I had mentioned earlier, the fact that we're doing just day passes and not event tickets, part of that is we didn't have other rooms to hold separate events. So when we would normally do a pick of the list in another room, we don't have that ability this time. So we put those meeting tables inside the exhibit hall, and it seats 214 booksellers. And we know we're going to have more than 214 booksellers. We do have tables in the foyer for people to eat at during breakfast and lunch, those who don't want to sit in a pick of the list, which there are booksellers who don't want to sit through that. But we only have the 214 seats inside the ballroom for the pick of the list. So that's why I didn't want to make it seem so glib, you know, musical chairs. But I did want to stress that we are limited based on size at the hotel, what we can fit into that ballroom. So, and with that also, I want to tell you all to split up from your colleagues when you're doing pick of the lists and the round tables and the education. There's a lot being offered, and you should divide and conquer and attend as many programs as you can. And then we mentioned swag somewhere earlier, but I don't think we talked about are encouraging you all to bring some swag from your store, whatever you want to carry. We're thinking it would be more like t-shirts and book bags that easily fit into your suitcases. It could be something bigger, but we're going to have at the registration counter a swag exchange. So you can put your swag down and take swag from another store. So it's on our bookstore row. You can look at another store's swag, but we encourage you to bring something and share it at the conference with everyone. And then another, this is a really down and dirty housekeeping tip, is on the back of your badge when you check in, take it and just put your ICE, your in case of emergency contact, on the back of your badge, just in case there's an emergency. We know to look on your badge and call a friend or family member if something should happen to you. So, and you should use that anytime you go to a conference, not just our conference, but put it on the back of any conference badge whenever you're with strangers so that someone knows who to reach, because no one can get into anyone's phones these days. So and I think that's the last of the things I had to say.
Do we see anything in
Eileen,
the
just
chat
to-
that we haven't answered?
Just to jump onto what Eileen was saying about the badges, we've gone round and round as a committee about the best way to make sure that people have the option to display pronouns, but that no one feels pressure to make that choice. So there will be a space on the front of your badge that we're leaving intentionally blank. You're very, very welcome to write pronouns in there so that and write them big so that everyone can see them and make sure that they're, using them and treating you with respect. But it won't say pronouns above it, so it won't make anyone feel like they have to write something in there if you're in an in-between place right then and you just don't want to connect to any pronoun in English yet that day. You're welcome to leave it blank. So we're being as expansive as we can imagine how to be. And if there's some way we could be more expansive to make you more comfortable, please do talk to one of us, and we want your ideas, and we'll absolutely incorporate ideas.
Does anyone see anything else in the chat that needs answering, or does someone want to unmute and ask a question?
We've answered everything in the chat so far.
Well, please, this is being recorded if you want to share with your staff. And please reach out to any of us if you have a question, if something comes up, something came up from the discussion today that you need clarification on, or if you need that hotel link or any advice on registration, please reach out to any of us and we can help you. And if we're not the right person, we'll direct you to the right person. So we really appreciate the big turnout today, and we're very excited to see all you in like 3 weeks. So thank you.